Baloch grievances. CPEC benefits, but Baloch are excluded. Balochistan's peace needs political dialogue.
Hello, I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching another episode of Explained. Balochistan, Pakistan's largest and least populated province, has long been a focal point of insurgency, separatism and deep-rooted discontent. Today we break down the latest wave of violence that the region has seen. In the past 40 hours, the Baloch Liberation Army, otherwise known as the BLA, has claimed responsibility for some of the deadliest attacks in years, killing more than 200 security personnel in one of the most coordinated offensives we've seen in recent times. Historically, Balochistan has been sporadic and seen sporadic uprisings and insurgent activity dating back to the early days of Pakistan's formation. What was once considered a low-intensity insurgency has grown into a more frequent and coordinated campaign, particularly in the last 2 years. In 2024, the BLA stormed army and navy bases, and in 2025, their operations included highway assaults and attacks on civilians, escalating tensions and leading to greater security crackdowns. In the recent January 2026 attacks, they are perhaps the most brazen example of this, as the group launched a 40-hour assault on over a dozen locations with bombings, gunfire and coordinated strikes. The rise in the scale and sophistication of these attacks is a clear indicator of the increasing capabilities of the BLA, which has been recruiting more actively, including the use of female suicide bombers, a tactic not seen in previous insurgencies. The roots of the Baloch insurgency lie in a long history of economic marginalization, political neglect, and a deep sense of injustice. Despite being rich in natural resources, including gas, minerals, and access to the strategically vital Gwadar port, Balochistan remains one of Pakistan's most underdeveloped provinces. Many Baloch people feel that their resources are being exploited by the Pakistani state and foreign interests, particularly China, under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, otherwise known as CPEC. While the CPEC promises massive infrastructure investments, such as the development of the Gwadar port, local Baloch people see little benefit from these projects. Instead, they feel excluded from the wealth generated by their province's natural resources, fueling resentment towards Islamabad and other foreign powers like China. Balochistan's coal mines, for example, are a case in point. Workers there face extreme danger in poorly maintained conditions, and separatist groups have often attacked these sites, killing workers from other provinces who are brought in for labour. These incidents are a direct consequence of the growing security vacuum in Balochistan, where insurgents are emboldened by a lack of state presence in remote areas. Despite numerous military operations, Pakistan's response to the Baloch insurgency is largely focused on kinetic force, airstrikes, ground offensives and counter-insurgency tactics. However, these measures have failed to address the core grievances of the Baloch population. The Pakistani state views the insurgents as terrorists, while many Baloch people see them as freedom fighters struggling for autonomy and justice. The Pakistani government's continued focus on military solutions, while neglecting the political, economic and social issues at the heart of the insurgency, has led to the perpetuation of this violent cycle. One of the central factors in the escalation of violence has been the BLA's growing sophistication in its tactics. In addition to the frequent use of improvised explosive devices and bombings, the BLA has also employed female suicide bombers, as seen in the attack on Chinese nationals in Karachi. This represents a significant shift in strategy, as the group has become more organised, daring and willing to target both military and civilian infrastructure, including Chinese interests, which it accuses of furthering the exploitation of Balochistan's resources. This has brought the group into direct conflict, not only with the Pakistani state, but also foreign powers like China, further complicating the situation in the region. The death toll from the recent attacks serves as a tragic reminder of the human cost of this ongoing war. As the violence continues to escalate, civilians are often the collateral damage in a struggle for many that feels like a fight for survival. In the wake of these attacks, the Pakistani military launched extensive counter-offensives, killing over 140 BLA members. But the reality on the ground is far more complicated. The attacks on civilians, particularly those from other provinces, reflect a significant escalation in the insurgency's tactics. These attacks showcase the deepening divide between the Baloch people and the Pakistani state, with the insurgents gaining more local support due to the widespread sense of disenfranchisement. At the heart of this conflict lies a fundamental question. Can military power alone resolve the grievances of Balochistan's people? The answer, as history has shown, is no. Military victories might push back insurgents temporarily, but they do not address the systemic issues that fuel the rebellion. Balochistan's economic underdevelopment, corruption and political exclusion have created a volatile environment where insurgency can thrive. Until the Pakistani government addresses these root causes, including better resource distribution, political representation and investment in local infrastructure and services, the cycle of violence will continue. In the broader geopolitical context, Balochistan's strategic importance cannot be overstated. It is a vital link in China's Belt and Road Initiative, and its proximity to Iran and Afghanistan makes it a significant point of interest for regional and global powers. Pakistan finds itself caught between internal pressures from Baloch separatists and external forces such as China and India, each with their own interests in the region. The challenge for Islamabad is to navigate these complex external relations while addressing the internal fissures that have long plagued the province. Without a genuine political solution that includes the voices of the Baloch people, the region will remain a flashpoint for both local and international conflict. Ultimately, the violence in Balochistan is a stark reminder of the importance of political inclusion, economic justice and regional diplomacy. The BLA's insurgency is not just about separatism, it's about a people who feel neglected, marginalised and ignored. The future of Balochistan depends on whether Pakistan can break the cycle of violence by addressing the legitimate grievances of its people, offering economic inclusion and engaging in meaningful political dialogue. Without these steps, the conflict will only continue to escalate with no end in sight. Well, that's all for this episode of Explained. Stay tuned as we bring you more in-depth insights and stories that matter.